Well, what another utterly frustrating afternoon of being a Tottenham fan. And it's another day where we sit here and this time we've actually got away with it and we managed to bring the game back to a draw. But on the whole, another shocking performance, another awful performance, if we're being totally honest. And I don't I don't want to launch straight into Iran after what we've all just watched, but let's be honest with ourselves, we were incredibly lucky to get something out of that game. Bournemouth played us off the park completely, and they deserve to win. There's no doubt about it. Bournemouth deserve to win. They are a much, much better team than us. The way they pressed us was absolutely immense, and we cannot handle it. We cannot cope with it. I have so many questions and so many frustrations, and I could approach the result of this game in two different ways. I could look at it as a character building experience because we don't have anything left to play for in the Premier League anyway, and we have a massive game on Thursday against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League second leg. Or I can sort of just ride my emotions, and I've literally pressed record on this the moment the full-time whistle's gone, and I can't help but feel angry about the game and about what we watched, because there was just so much wrong with it again, and it's from both the players and the manager perspective. I mean, we insist on playing out from the back and playing under pressure, but Bournemouth are one of the best pressing teams in the Premier League, and they nearly scored 2 or 3 times at the very minimum from pressing us and forcing us into mistakes today. And it took until Vicario nearly got chased down and put the ball into his own net for him to start kicking it long. And that's not a him problem. That's an Ange Postecoglou problem, because he's being told to do that. And another thing tactically, the way our fullbacks play, where they're so high. When one of our centre-backs has the ball for Tottenham, they have it, and the fullbacks split and they hug the touchline. They go so high. But when you're playing a team like Bournemouth, who are going to commit 4 players to the press, you have to drop the fullbacks deeper to receive the ball and play around the press. Instead, you've got either Romero or Danso or whoever it is on the ball, and they have to play a dangerous pass every single time if we don't want to go long. And it just puts the midfielders and the fullbacks under immediate pressure. And then the reality of the situation at Tottenham at the moment is the players that are receiving the ball on the half turn or under the press of Bournemouth are not good enough to be able to control it or turn out of the press. Once upon a time, Yves Bissouma would have been able to receive those balls from Romero under pressure and beat his man and drop the shoulder and turn, or at least play a first-time ball to another Tottenham player. Today, you watch him, and I've played with better Sunday League players when it comes to controlling the ball under pressure. There was one instance where Romero broke the lines in the Bournemouth half, and he played it into Bissouma, who had space either side of him, and he had one Bournemouth player pressing him, and it catapults off his foot, and then he has to drag his man down and he gets booked for it, otherwise Bournemouth are in. And it's so befuddling to me, because I said it in my last video, there are no excuses left for Ange or Tottenham. And if we put in a performance like that against Alkmaar on Thursday, I genuinely think we will lose and we will get knocked out, and then that's Ange done. His job will be over then. My mindset is relaxing so rapidly on whether I think he should be our manager or not, because there was just so much tactically wrong against Bournemouth today that really frustrated me. And yeah, it was just it's the fact that he keeps playing the same players week in and week out that are clearly not good enough at the moment, if at all. Like Pedro Porro back in at right back today, I think you could tell from the first 20 minutes that he's just not at the level to be able to help us beat a team of the quality that Bournemouth have. Their first goal came from him on the counter-attack with options left, right, centre, all the time and space in the world. And he just plays the most tame ball that is so easily intercepted. It's horrible. And I genuinely cannot believe it. And fair play to Milos Kerkez, because he is one hell of a fullback. That cross for Kluivert's goal, for Bournemouth's opener, we could give that ball to any one of our fullbacks at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and you could give them 1,000 attempts to make that cross, and not a single one of them would successfully complete it. I genuinely am not joking. It was stunning, and I've not seen a player be able to cross a ball into the box like that for Tottenham since probably Jan Vertonghen played at left back. It's so frustrating because Bournemouth were favourites today, and they showed why. And they really, really were good value for 3 points, and we got away with it. I mean, Papsar mishits his cross, and it goes in, and it gives us a lifeline. And then Son comes on, and I think he has quite a good impact on the game, and he wins us the penalty, and he scores it. Fair play, but just, again, the lack of urgency, the lack of quality on the pitch. I mean, Brennan Johnson, again, just isn't at the level. He isn't at the level, and that's unfortunate. And he does score a lot of goals, so the numbers on paper tell you that that's a different story, but I just don't think that he is. And Dominic Solanke had to work his arse off for 90 minutes today. Mathis Tel didn't even come off the bench. Odegaard, I think, is a bright talent, but his end product's really poor. And I think in the first half in particular, he does so well to beat his man, but he never ever picks out the right pass. In midfield, Bentancur is that 6. I've never seen a midfielder in the Premier League so easy to run past than Rodrigo Bentancur. And, Lucas Bergvall came on and showed him levels. He was 10 times better than anything Bentancur showed in the first half. He was absolutely immense. One of the positive things that we can take out of what is just a frustrating draw. And I like to try and be balanced, so I will talk about a couple of good things. And the main thing I guess we take away from this game is character building, and I mentioned it right at the start. We're a goal down against Alkmaar, and our season hinges on this next game on Thursday night. We're a goal down against Alkmaar, and we're going to need some character to come back and somehow win the tie, even though I would imagine a lot of Tottenham fans are probably not feeling like we can at the moment. And it's just frustrating to go 2-0 down in the first place. Bournemouth scored a lovely goal that was ruled offside as well. I haven't seen us put a move together like that in such a long time. We can't seem to string 2 passes together. We can't seem to string an attacking, fluid motion together in the game. Just disappointing, and anger and frustration, I think, is what we take away from that game as a whole. More positives. Great to see Romero back, even if he did look a little bit rusty and some of his passes were maybe a bit off the mark and he was attacked slow on the ball. Mickey van der Ven got the biggest cheer of the afternoon when he came on for the final half an hour, and he looked sharp, which is really, really positive to see. And I hope he starts on Thursday because I think we're going to need him. I really, really do. Those are the positives. James Maddison got stuck in when he came on trying to pull the strings, but again, there were moments where you expect more from him in certain situations. There was a moment where he got the ball on the volley and he could have played Solanke through, and he just put way too much power on the pass, and that's at 2-2, and you're chasing the game. And it irks me that the crowd had to be the ones to G the team up and to urge them on to go in search of a winner, because I think when we pulled it back to 2-2, the players looked content with a draw. I think Bournemouth were frustrated, but they accepted that a draw isn't the worst result as they chase their European football. And you know what? I hope they get it because they're a brilliant team under Iraola. And if Ange were to go, he's definitely top of the shortlist, I think. But I think there will be far bigger and better clubs in line for Iraola in the summer, if I'm being totally honest. Vicario getting the ball, and there's 2 minutes left in added time, and the crowd are having to shout at him like, come on, get a move on. And so much frustration. It's really good therapy for me to be able to sit here and talk it out, just because I think I probably would have sat bubbling and stewing over it for a good few hours. So I wanted to just turn the camera on immediately and get some thoughts out on the game. I mean, what did you guys think? I don't think anyone's telling the truth if they say we deserved any points out of the game, but can we be positive coming out of it? Once we insert Kulusevski back into that team, are we finally going to see Ange ball again? Because it just doesn't look like we've seen it in such a long time. And just a hugely frustrating afternoon. I think from the very, very beginning, you could tell that Bournemouth were just so up for it and we weren't. The atmosphere inside the stadium completely flat, like it has been for weeks. Didn't take much for the fans to turn on the players, which is, again, unsurprising and hugely disappointing. I think that's the overall thing for it, to be honest. Just disappointing, frustrating, upsetting because we've waited all this time for these players to come back from injury, and then we've had a couple of games now, and I know Ange just said it's going to take a few games for a lot of them to get up to speed, but we haven't looked anywhere near to a higher level than what we have been playing over the last few months, and there's a lot still wrong at the club, and all of a sudden Thursday is a very, very heavy game. I think if Ange loses, he's gone. I don't think there can be any excuses left to be made for him. And you guys know me, and I want to be completely transparent. I've been behind Ange from the very, very start. But there's only, you can only support a man and a manager of a Premier League football club to an extent where if it gets too bad, then it just looks like you're doing it for the sake of doing it. And I don't want to be that person. And there are things that are going wrong every week at the moment, which I think are the manager's responsibility, albeit the players on the pitch also aren't good enough. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe Ange is expecting too much of the players that we have available. And I just don't know if we're good enough to play the way that he wants to, particularly out from the back under pressure. Hugely, hugely frustrating, hugely annoying. And in hindsight, Bournemouth are a good team, and perhaps a point is a good result in the grand scheme of things when you look at where they are in the table, where you look at where we are in the table. And I guess ultimately the priority is Europa League, and we have to get ourselves ready and gear up for a huge game on Thursday. If we don't beat Alkmaar, then we don't deserve to go on in the Europa League. We probably didn't even deserve to be it in the first place, if that is the case, if we can't get past them. So yeah, it's over to Ange, it's over to the players, because this is it. It's do or die. But yeah, just wanted to get my thoughts out there immediately on the game and get it uploaded. No cuts, no editing, nothing like that from me. I don't think this time. It's just going to go straight up. And yeah, let me know what you think of the game. What are you expecting for Thursday? I'll have a preview out on Tuesday. I would imagine I'll be able to get one out. So look out for that. Try and enjoy the rest of your weekend, as much as Spurs make it difficult at the moment. I think next weekend's the last Premier League game before the international break, so we'll get a nice extended period away from the boys. It's so depressing saying that, but it's the reality of the situation at Tottenham. It is what it is. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps me out massively, of course. As I already mentioned, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will catch you next week, and as always, come on you Spurs.